Hello, everyone, and welcome to Together in This. My name is Mike Good, and I'm your host. Today, I couldn't be more excited than to have Michael Ellenbogen with us, a man I've grown to have a lot of respect for. Now, Michael was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's at the early age of 49, but Michael's not letting that stop him. Michael's an active advocate for the disease, has written a book entitled From the Corner Office to Alzheimer's, and stays active, so much that he recently went skydiving. And that's why I've got Michael here today. We're going to talk about Michael's recent skydiving adventure. Welcome to the show, Michael.
Well, thank you for having me.
So, so what got you interested in skydiving, Michael?
Well, I'll tell you, I was kind of going around trying to figure out my bucket list and everything. And around the time that I was doing that, I always had the idea of skydiving, but I never would want to do that because, hey, it was dangerous. But I came across this video with somebody that I was working with who had shown another person who had dementia, and they were doing skydiving. And I never thought about it that you could tandem. Because my fear was that if I was to try to do it on my own, I'd forget to pull the chute. So
Yeah.
I saw that and I said, wow, there's still a chance that I could do that.
Wow, that's very interesting, Michael, and that's definitely something that I think people like myself that aren't struggling with disease wonder about. You know, trying to remember those things. Am I going to pull the cord? How did that did that actually make it easier because you knew you were going to tandem and it was in someone else's hands then?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, I would never trust going up. If I had to do anything important, I would never do anything like that because I know that I would probably panic and forget to do that. And to know that I had somebody who would be overseeing me and to ensure that I wouldn't make that error, that was great. And you know, it really worked out really good.
That's interesting. And you know, the one question I keeps coming across my mind, Michael, is I'll probably never jump from a plane. But I picture if I was signed up to do it, the anxiety I would have every day leading up to the jump would possibly not be any fun. It'd make it, you know, it would scare me. So do you, with not knowing how the disease affects you on a daily basis, do you remember every day that the event was coming up, or did that actually give you a little relief that some days you just didn't remember it?
Well, I actually remembered pretty much most of the time that I was going to be doing it. In fact, for me, I have to tell you, I went out with my neighbors one evening, and I was telling them that I was going to be skydiving. And my neighbor says to me, he goes, Mike, do you remember you're afraid of heights? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And what happened was in the last 3 years, I've become afraid of heights. I was trying to go on my roof, and I was afraid to go on my roof anymore, where I used to be able to do that. And that made me think twice now, wow, do I still want to do this? Because that was something I actually had forgotten about. So I was really trying to decide that for many, many weeks after that, whether I should continue doing the skydiving, because I really wasn't sure at this point. But then I thought in my mind, I said, you know what? Once I step out of the plane, it's too late. So I figured I'm going to give it a try. And so I don't think I spent a lot of time thinking about it afterwards.
Well, that's pretty interesting. Now, when you talk about this new fear of heights, do you think there was any vertigo related to that kind of because of the disease, or was it just new because you knew that you were just maybe a little more at risk for forgetting where you're at, or you know, because I go up on my roof a lot, and if I start thinking about it, then I start to get a little afraid. So.
I'm not sure what it was. All I can tell you is I used to go up on my roof all the time. In fact, I had a 32-foot ladder that I bought years ago when I first got married for my house. And in fact, I was one of those cocky persons that I'd be up at the top and I'd try to shift it, and you know, it didn't matter to me.
Right.
But the last time I had gotten up on the roof, which was about like 3, 4 years ago, I got up there, and I got to tell you, when I went to come down, I was terrified. I was literally terrified that I didn't know how to get off to the roof to get onto the ladder.
Mm.
And I was so terrified that I think the only thing that got me down there was the thought of the embarrassment that they would have to call the fire department to come and get me. But I finally managed to get myself off of that roof, and I never got back on again. So I don't know what changed, but something has changed in me that has prevented me from having that courage to do that.
That's interesting. Now obviously skydiving's from a little bit higher than 32 feet or 10 feet. Now, how high was your jump?
Well, my jump was 12,500 feet.
Wow.
And I have to tell you, when I got my watch that I have has an altimeter in it, so I was able to see where we were at, and I could also see that the homes you couldn't see anymore, from the plane. So as I was going up there, I'm noticing at 10,000, you just don't see things anymore.
Wow.
And that's when it started to kick in and think, oh wow, maybe this wasn't the right move. Before you know it, we were at 12,500, and when I was being pushed out at that point, we were ready to go. So, but that was such a short period of time. I'm talking maybe a matter of 20 seconds or 30 seconds that I didn't have a lot of time to really think about it much longer, and we were jumping out.
Wow, that's interesting. And I'm sure for anyone that's jumped like that, I'm sure that's a pretty common feeling to have overcome you. So that's interesting. And so did you you live in Pennsylvania, I believe, right?
Yes, I do.
So you probably went to a local place there, and that's where you did it, or?
Yeah, there was a place not too far from here. I'd say it was probably about a 30-minute drive, somewhere out past the Doylestown area, and it was pretty convenient there, to do this.
I see. And did you have some family, friends go with you?
Well, I had my wife go with me, but she had no intentions to wanting to do this. She was just there to kind of keep me company.
Right.
Unfortunately, with skydiving, it's all dependent on the weather and everything, and
Okay.
we actually ended up waiting about 7 to 8 hours till I was finally able to make the jump because we had to wait for the right conditions. Even though we were scheduled early in the morning, it wasn't until I think about 5 o'clock in the afternoon that we finally got an opportunity to go.
Oh, that's interesting. And as you know, everybody with Alzheimer's is different, but you hear a lot about how towards the afternoon and the evening it becomes harder for people to, so does that affect you that way, where the evening comes on and you get more anxiety built up, or did that have a negative effect on your fun for that day?
To be honest with you, I'm not sure. I will tell you this. I was starting to get very anxious, and that long wait was a little bit too much for me and everything. But I believe a lot of it went away the minute they made the decision that we were going to go, because it could have been canceled altogether because we weren't getting the right conditions of the wind and everything.
Right.
Right. But once that happened and it got closer, I think a lot of that anxiety kind of went away. Mm-hmm. And I think the anxiety of now going into a plane started kicking in. So the one was overriding the other. And I think it probably might have been a little bit better circumstances if I would have been able to do it in the morning, but I did have a good time overall.
That's great. I know if it was me and I had to wait 7 or 8 hours, I'd probably just go stir crazy. I'd be bouncing off the walls and stuff. So it doesn't sound like it was, that too much different for you in that regard. How about the whole process? Did you suit up when you first got there, and you had to walk around for 7 or 8 hours with that suit on and just kind of chill in the hangar, I guess?
Well, I actually had the suit on twice. I originally suited on when I first got there, thinking we were going to go early in the morning. and we got all ready and everything. And the person gave me a few basic instructions that I had to follow, and that's a real concern for me because I'm not always going to be able to follow them. And I made sure to let them know that I had Alzheimer's. In fact, I made sure to let them know multiple times that I might need some extra coaxing there, when things happen. But before you know it, after about an hour of wearing the seat the first time, they came back that we wouldn't be able to go up. So we had to start all over again later on in the afternoon, and again went through that whole same process. And again, just made them aware clearly that, hey, you had to make sure that you couldn't count on me. You had to kind of really ensure that they were kind of taking control of me.
Yeah, I see. And I know you talk about, when we talk about on Lori LeBay's show about dementia friendly and how professionals work with the dementia community and help them. It sounds like this team of skydivers was sensitive to your situation and worked with you through that. That's a great thing.
Yeah, they did, and they really made me feel really comfortable that they would do what's necessary, and they said don't worry about it and everything else, And there was a couple times that I didn't do what I was supposed to do, but they took control to be able to make that all happen. So it was good.
Yeah, it sounds like you probably did better than a lot of people. I hear people, and I know nothing about it, but I hear people say they forgot to sprawl or they forgot to do this, and the instructor had to reinforce it with them. So, do you think you're gonna do it again?
Well, I tell you, I would love to do it again, but there's a cost factor. I mean, it's not cheap to do that.
Right.
And when you do it, it's only about, my God, it goes by no time, the whole process.
Right.
But
right.
it was great, and I would definitely do it again,
That's interesting. That's neat. So looking back on it, Michael, do you think that having dementia actually had any adverse effect on you doing this adventure? Because I really want to, I kind of mentioned to you in my email, I see you as a role model for others to get out and have fun and not let dementia or Alzheimer's, stop them from living their lives. So do you think that dementia had any effect on you in this, doing this jump?
Well, I would think that if it wasn't for having the dementia, I might not have tried this because I have a slightly different change in attitude on life at this point in time. When you don't have an illness that is going to take your life in a couple of years, you're probably less likely to take some of the risks.
Absolutely.
And knowing that, it's like, hey, look, what's the worst that can happen? My life gets shortened by 2 years or so.
Right,
and
right.
At the same time, at least I'm going to die happy, having a great time.
Right. That's very interesting, Michael. And so it sounds like you'd recommend this to others that have dementia and among other things.
Without a doubt, but they just need to make sure that the facility they go to is going to be a facility that was like I went to, where they were willing to take care of you and they knew up front. I mean, that is a key. You can't go to one of these places and think that you're going to do this on your own and you're not going to let them know you have dementia. You need to let them know multiple times, because just like me, there was some things I didn't do right, but they were aware that I may not do those things right, and they were able to get in there and help me out. And that is the key. Too many of us tend to be in denial, and you can't be the hero.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Michael. And I'm all about communication with others and educating others, and so many people just don't really know what the disease is about. So you have to. It's good that you do that, and I'm really hoping that others get out and take some risk and have some fun and live their life with the disease. And what do you remember most about the jump, Michael? Is there anything about it that's kind of sticking in your mind that you just remember all the time? Or?
Well, I'll tell you, the whole thing was just so fascinating. In fact, I had videotaped it as we went down. We had a video done, but it was just. I think the one thing that was probably that stood out to me the most was I actually paid to go higher up than the average,
Okay.
which gives you a longer free fall, which means you're free falling with the parachute not open.
Oh.
So it was just kind of weird because I guess about a month beforehand at this facility, believe it or not, they had an accident where two people went down, the chutes didn't open.
Oh my.
And they survived.
Oh wow.
But until that chute opened, I remember wondering how much time was going by as we were falling. And I was just waiting for that moment of when that chute would open, because of that in my mind, in the background. If that incident would not have taken place, I probably wouldn't have even thought about it. But I was going in this long free fall, and it was just so great and looking. But in the back of my mind, I kept thinking, is this chute opening? Is this chute opening? And when it finally opened is when I think I finally was relaxed.
Right.
Yeah, but
that's interesting.
it was I think I would have enjoyed that free fall more if I didn't have that incident happen, I guess a month or so ago at the place there.
Right, and I think that would weigh on all of our minds, and I would probably have canceled after hearing that myself. I know out here in San Diego, we hear every 6 months or so there's a fatal skydiving accident, but and those are the professionals, right? So I guess sometimes it takes a little extra to get us out and taking those risks and living life, but you really inspired me when I heard you talking about this adventure, to start spreading the word to others about, not letting Alzheimer's be a prescription to stop living. Let it be an excuse to live. And that's really, hearing that from you just had a huge impact on me. And I really want to help with my company together in this to help spread that word and help caregivers and their loved ones to live life to its fullest and enjoy it while they still can. And I think you're a great role model, Michael. And let me ask you, I know you also went on a trip to some foreign countries as well, or something recently too.
Well, I'm always traveling. In fact, we're trying to figure out where the next place is. The only thing that's hampering me from continuously traveling is my wife, who still has to work. Somebody's got to pay the bills. But I mean, at this point in time in my life, I want to do as much as possible. In fact, this morning I was looking at trying to drive a Lamborghini, one of those things where you're on a track.
Yeah.
It is so important for people to live life to the fullest within their own means, of course.
Sure.
But we all plan for the retirement, but for me, retirement is going to come. So you have to do it now. And, the things that you were planning on doing later, you have to do now. As I tell people, we all have those fancy pocketbooks, that we wear on a special occasion, or you have that fancy watch that you wear when you go out. Well, you know what? Life is too precious. Start wearing them now, every day, and use those things, because you might as well enjoy life and get something out of it than to leave it to somebody.
Yeah, that's really great advice, Michael, and I think so many of us, even those that aren't struggling with Alzheimer's, tend to fall into that, and I really think that's really great advice, and really appreciate you being on here. Is there anything else you'd like to share about the trip? Any questions I didn't think to ask you?
No, I just think that anybody who's considering anything who has this disease should not put limitations on it themselves. They should go to the people who do the programs and make sure they're okay with it, and they'll find out that a lot of things that they think or perceive that they're not capable of doing, there's people out there that will help them do it.
Yeah, that's really true. That is. It's just a matter of finding those resources, but they are out there. I know in my county we have a lot of resources, and I'm shocked sometimes when I talk to the people that they're not aware of those, and they're just guys like me even that are here to help and want to help everyone get on and enjoy life to its fullest. Well, Michael, I really appreciate your time today, and look forward to seeing you. What's on your? So you're talking about a trip. You got anything else exciting going on? I know you advocate a lot for the disease. Are you going to get in front of any politicians anytime soon?
I'm always getting involved with the politicians. I mean, I do that regularly, and in fact, that's one of the things I was working on right before here, drafting up another letter for something else. So I'm always doing something there. As far as the trip, we're just starting to talk about it. In fact, this is the first time I think in a long time that we don't actually have something planned. But we're working hard to put something together quickly. We just haven't found the right venue yet.
Right, and we have the holidays coming up, so I guess that's a good time to stay at home, and you're probably going to get some snow back there in Pennsylvania. Yeah,
yeah, probably.
Yeah, we don't get much snow in San Diego, so I kind of miss it though. And then your book, From the Corner Office to Alzheimer's, it's on Amazon, I believe, so our viewers can stop by and check that out. And I believe it's a Kindle version, and I'm not sure if there's a...
It's both Kindle and softback.
Oh, okay, great. All right, well, Michael, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up here, and just want to say thank you to everyone for stopping in and listening to our interview and conversations today with Michael Ellenbogen. And be sure to stop over at togetherinthis.com and check out our resources, and let us know how you're doing and if there's anything we can do to help you. Have a great day.